Shut up and sit down.
Smelling her shoe. Okay, so I started the recording already, guys. Let's click them bottles. All right, guys, welcome to Suds and Buds. Today, my name is Vincent Herman, and I'm drinking Budweiser Copper Lager.
My name is Bob Collins, and I'm drinking Magic Hat Barroom Hero Pub Ale.
My name is Brittany, and I'm drinking Oak Leaf Sweet Red.
We got a good variety going on this one. Usually it's like a cover-all basis type thing. Way to go, Bob. You insisted on that.
I knew I was going to do that, and I was like, I'm going to make a conscious effort not to. And I
just a little bit of reference here. Bob has, for his mic stand, a metal folding chair.
Like right in front of my face.
As he lounges in the floor. And yeah, he just hit his bottle off of that. So expect that at least 2 or 3 more times.
At least like a half dozen more times.
So I don't really know what we're going to talk about in this thing, but I do know we have like one piece of what do you call it?
Ass.
One piece of ass.
So I'm a piece of ass now.
I mean, among other things, but yes, that falls in the category of things that you might be.
Okay.
Bob, it's 2019. She's one piece of thoughtful human being.
Okay. Oh, actually, there is one thing I do want to address on this episode. If you've listened,
house cleaning. That's the term I was thinking of. Yes, house cleaning.
Is this going to be the next one released?
It doesn't matter.
Well,
Suds and Buds episode 10 is what this next part is going to refer to.
If this happens to be episode 11, then you heard on the previous episode 10.
Well, you're kind of forcing my hand now.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the point. You heard our discussion about the news. We went into
not to be confused with the nudes.
That
which takes on so many new meanings for me today. Like I never thought of it in terms of ramen noodles. But yeah, apparently the kids are calling them the nudes these days.
Send nudes because I'm hungry.
Yeah, send me nudes all the time. Pictures and ramen.
Send me pictures of your nudes.
Her Instagram will be in the description below.
Just do not send me your dirty danglers.
Dirty fucking dangles, boys. But no, what I was talking about is in episode 10 we were talking about the news, and I brought up the fact that the little ticker bar at the bottom of the screen on like CNN and all these bigger news networks. I mentioned that it originated during the events of 9/11. You insisted it didn't, that it was pre-existing.
I was under the assumption that it, and I should say assumption, that it was...
You sounded pretty fucking confident.
I was pretty confident in my assumption, but I was pretty sure it was like an 80s, 90s thing. Maybe originating around the time that like car chases became a big deal.
That's what we were discussing.
Yeah.
And... as a matter of fact, I was right.
Due to a little bit of research on Brittany's part, she's the one who uncovered this tidbit.
We were in transit from Columbus to down here, listening to this episode. There are 2 episode 10 in the car, and when that part came on, I was like, I'm still pretty fucking positive I was right. And she looks it up, and sure enough, 110% I was right.
Yeah, it was a piece of random information I had heard too. So,
well, okay, so this was like something you knew, based on like previous exposure to this knowledge. Yeah. Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, me either. I don't know how I came across that. It's just like whenever we were also talking about Columbine in that episode.
Yeah, we did.
And you're like, it happened in like 97.
Classic episode, salads to school shootings.
You're like, it happened in like 97, 98. I was like, April 20th, 1999. I don't know how I know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do know how I know that.
You summoned
April
that
20th,
knowledge.
Yeah. April 20th. is 420.
I remember thinking
I'm an
while I was
ex-stoner,
editing it,
so.
not so much, I don't remember much from when we recorded it, but I remember when editing it, I was like, fuck, he was on that.
Yeah.
It's like, he must have been obsessed or something.
No, not at all. It's one of those things that stuck with me because, like I said, 420 is April 20th, and I'm a previous stoner.
Well, and you never know.
And it's also Hitler's birthday is April 20th.
No shit.
So I was like, maybe there's some kind of,
Maybe they did that in correlation with both
that's
events.
Exactly what I was kind of thinking.
But I mean, people do get obsessed with that stuff these days. Ted Bundy is a big one right now.
Oh, speaking of which, when we just left Odell's, Brittany's on her phone scrolling, probably a Murderino's page or some kind of true crime page. Mm-hmm. This girl got a tattoo of the bite mark that Ted Bundy left on
one of his victims.
Yeah.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
fucking disgusting, isn't
Yeah.
it? You know what I mean?
Ridiculous.
It's one thing to think murder's cool. Like, not cool.
Whoa.
but like,
Hold on now.
I think that's the title of this episode. It's one thing to think murder is cool.
I don't want to say
No.
murder's cool.
I gotta
mean,
think
like,
about the thumbnail here. It'll just be murder is cool.
okay, let me rephrase that.
Please. Please.
Not like murder's cool, but like the psychology behind it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
why
it's
people...
fascinating.
I was say the fascination with
But-
true crime and serial killers.
Yeah.
It's another thing to, like, idolize Manson, Bundy, Gacy.
And there are a lot of news outlets. Philip DeFranco is one of them. He's my tried and true. That anytime something like that happens, especially a school shooting, he refuses to show the picture or say the name of the person responsible because it's glorification they're ultimately looking for. And instead, he shines spotlights on the heroes of the event and stuff.
Yeah, or even
always
the
brings a
victims.
fucking tear to my eye. But I love that he does that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of counter to the culture because you see all over Netflix right now and like for a long time, like murder documentaries, like miniseries based on murderers and shit.
Yeah.
And I even I've always hated Charles Manson being lumped in with him. He was a cult leader. He wasn't a murderer. Never really got his hands dirty. That has been proven. He's just a fanatic leading fanatics.
Right.
So if anything, like we should have fucking axed that dude a while back because we had an attempt on a president years after his incarceration because of his influence. And people still follow this motherfucker. Like if you'd have just guillotined that bitch real quick, we'd be done with that. But no, there was I
Not necessarily.
I know way too much about this right now.
Bundy's dead, and literally all it takes is a 4-part miniseries on Netflix.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And then a Zac Efron movie, and
Because...
Yeah, you're right. Like I'm down for a documentary. I'm down to unpack like the whys and the hows and the
this Efron movie. It's not even. I don't know.
It was from Liz's point of view.
Yeah, but in a way,
Really?
it felt more. And maybe this is what they were going for. Maybe they were going for more of like, from her point of view, it's like, can this person that I love and I felt this strongly about do all these horrible things? Like they didn't even touch on the fact that he fucked a decapitated head.
Does he do that in the movie?
No.
Okay.
Like there's
gonna
literally there's like one quick shot of him dragging a body, and that was at the end of the movie.
I was gonna
It's
say, how
because
in depth does this movie get?
It was from...
A lot of it's like more of the trial.
And we should say, what is this one called? It has
Oh,
a
fuck.
really
It's
stupid
It's
long
shockingly evil and extremely vile.
Fucking pick a better name.
It's
said
a
that,
reference
the
to
judge.
what the judge.
No,
said to
I
him.
understand.
But
I
yes,
understand that.
that's why I just call it the Bundy movie.
I mean, it's applicable to the man himself, regardless of
if it
whether
wasn't
somebody
for
said
fucking
it or
Seth
not.
MacFarlane, we could have just called it Ted.
That would have been more acceptable. I mean, fuck.
Oh, but what I was saying
Bundy
is,
from a point of view is a better
don't get me
fucking
wrong.
title.
It's from Liz's point
yeah,
of view.
it's from.
this-
Were they married?
No.
No.
If you'd let me tell you.
Okay.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. So, it is no different than if sorry.
I thought it was me. You're good.
If you, Robbie, went out and killed a whole bunch of people, and I'm just at home, allegedly, if I'm just at home and I get, like, you come home, you're sweaty, you have, like, a little bit of blood on your pants, and I'm like, oh, okay. So she was telling her side of everything that she's seen on the news, she heard, so they can't show all the murders because she wasn't there in first person.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean,
do we need to put a spoiler warning?
Nah, fuck it. It's on Netflix.
Because
it's on Netflix.
Bundy,
like, you don't have to pay.
If you don't
money
know
to
who
go
Ted
see
Bundy is, he murdered some people. There's your spoiler.
Yeah, I was gonna say these are events
that
have been like heavily covered for decades.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the Avengers Endgame of murder movies.
Yeah, kind of.
They've all Helter Skelter,
Zodiac.
DC. They've all been leading
Zodiac,
to this one.
That Zodiac, man.
But I mean, as far as like Zac Efron goes, like his portrayal of Bundy, like especially if you've seen some of the actual footage of like the things he did while he was in court,
his mannerisms,
like spot fucking
on.
I recently, and he actually looks like him. I
recently watched an episode of the 70s because I've been watching those decade documentary things, and I've actually kind of been going backwards because I watched the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and now I'm jumping back to the 70s.
You're like in a very slow moving time travel machine.
Yeah. But anyways, there was one of the most recent episodes I watched was about like murder in the U.S. at that time, and they covered all this stuff, and like I was really taken by Ted Bundy, and this series was made well before like the 20 fucking Ted Bundy things that are on there now. So like this wasn't them necessarily focusing on him so they could push light onto the other things. This was just like, this was a magnanimous case because of, and then he escaped like two or three times.
Twice.
Yeah.
But if I'm not mistaken, it was the first televised trial, wasn't it?
Bob, I gotta say this, like, you keep looking her way, and you might be hearing this, but you're definitely echoing because that one's trying to pick you up, and you're talking into hers at the same time.
Well, let me sit up here and reposition.
These are all things. These are all things I had to learn with Vin doing SMP, by the way, because I would keep looking at him, and then like later while I'm editing, I'm like, why does it sound so fucking weird? And it's every time I'm looking at him to talk to him.
Yeah.
So.
But if I'm not mistaken, it's the first
and that's
trial
why I'm so distant.
that was televised. So
that was part of it.
Yeah, you have all this pre-existing footage,
and they call him like a showman, and like young girls were really taken with him at the time. It is a fascinating study on the serial killer as we know it, because most of what we know about these silly killers, these silly killers, they're just out there murdering people.
Silly goose with the news.
It's goofy. Oh my god!
Stabby like.
Tasty little snack.
I'm just gonna give you a little
tasty little
poke.
treat.
That's
a little
it.
cannibal tasty snack, you.
So you take our title, Murder is Cool, and then you take that soundbite, and there you go. You can bury all of us forever.
Oh God!
Hey, goodbye any future media career for me. Fuck it.
That's why I stick to construction. They'll hire anybody.
There you go. Anyways, no, but like most of these serial killers, you either know them as these like deeply disturbed, demented types, or these like hidden, quiet but friendly types.
Yeah.
Or the ones that sent in letters like Zodiac and what?
BTK.
Yeah.
Well, BTK, I did forget about him, but I was thinking Jack the Ripper.
Okay, yeah.
So he kind of does stand out above all of those in just his demeanor and his attitude and the way. And you could argue Charles Manson, although again, he's not a serial killer. You could argue Charles Manson the same, but like Whereas he had the same confidence in what he was saying. What he was saying was batshit insane.
Yeah.
So, like...
But Bundy
so
was
it's
actually
still not
pretty
even that.
fucking smart, though.
It wasn't actually.
He
was
was
intelligent.
Yeah. Well, didn't he study law for a little while?
Oh, yeah. He dabbled in, politics?
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Law school.
If his life went on a different path, he would have been extremely
And he was just a natural showman.
Yeah.
Like, just a natural, like, personality, you know? So, so I can't blame people for getting carried away with him, but it's when it gets to that point where people are, like, obsessive, or people are
getting tattoos of his fucking bite mark that he left on a victim.
And even that, like, murder is this popular, like, these true crimes are, like, and I blame our generation, because Unsolved Mysteries, that was my fucking jam, dude. But, like, these days, I'm like, fuck, we need heroes more than anything. And when I start watching these true crime things, or even, like, SVU, Law and Order SVU, I'm just like, the bad guys fucking win a lot. And
okay, but you know who the heroes are? Fucking Billy Jensen and Paul Holes. If you don't know, look them up.
Yeah, but the more you watch this stuff, the more you realize that more often than not, the bad guys get away with it, and, like, you know, the people who are meant to protect us aren't able to rise to said occasion for whatever reason or another, and it's just depressing.
There's, like, one police officer to every, and, like, one good detective to every.
Oh no, yeah, it comes
killers.
down to a problem in our system, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I can't fix this problem. There's nothing I can do to stop it, because I'm a proponent of, if you want to truly be a part of the change, you need to get in there and be a part of the change, because you can share shit online and you can say whatever you want to, but honestly, throwing out a fucking petition on your Facebook, you're not doing shit.
Right.
Hey, are you telling me that one like doesn't equal one prayer?
Well, it does equal one thought. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
so
true. Very true.
See, but there are.
there are people who, like, get really riled up about, like, the state of their town and shit, but they're not going
detectives.
but they're not going out to local elections. They want to bitch about the president, but they don't want to get out and vote because they say it's pointless.
Right.
And that's the shit that bothers me. If you want to change it, fucking study your ass off, get up in there and change it from the guts. Get up in them political guts.
This is one of the points where I wish we were a visual medium, because just watching you,
I gesticulate, getting up in them political guts with my dick. Get your brain real hard and get up in them political guts.
The movements he just made would make Paul Rudd from Wanderlust.
And I got real red in the face, and, like,
he would.
He is.
It was something to see, people, and you
fucking
never will.
Political.
I'm getting so fucking political over here. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
No, but you see what I'm saying? It's like we, the people, are only capable of so much. We need to either rise up above being the people or get out there and vote. But, like, anything in between is just fucking jerking off, and that only serves yourself.
Right.
So
I love serving myself.
Most people on Twitter do.
Ew.
Now we've got sound effects.
Oh yeah. We need a soundboard.
Armchair detectives, as I was saying, are becoming more prevalent.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I've noticed about like some of these, like, I'm gonna sound really old, but are they still called message boards? Like, where people just kind of discuss.
You mean like forums?
Yeah. I guess
or
that's
like
what I'm talking about.
Facebook groups.
You mean like an AIM chat room?
Merc.
Merc.
What's the server today?
AOL Instant Messengers.
Ooh,
it's like these
BlackBerry Messenger, BBM.
Isn't that a category on Pornhub?
That's big.
That made my head.
That's
Big,
BBC.
beautiful males.
That's
But-
BBC.
But there is a lot of these, what do you call them, armchair detectives
Yeah.
that are like finding clues or like finding like key
Oh, yeah.
points of like circumstantial evidence or these things that are actually helping out trials. And
I
that can
mean,
get-
in Columbus, and I don't know how many people listen to this podcast, but
like 2.
well, those 2.
Hey, our last episode got 12 listens.
I find this case really important. Oh my god, I sound like an asshole now.
The oh my god,
Mine
it
is
sounded
really
like an
important.
asshole case.
What's their
That's
name?
interesting.
God, no, I just blanked.
Are you talking about the guy
Yes,
that
yes.
disappeared out of
Tyler Davis.
Yes.
Thank you. He disappeared, and it's a big thing. He just up and disappeared from Easton.
And this
Mall.
was
In February.
You're talking about the episode of True
Crime
Crime Garage that we
Garage.
listened to. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's
It,
with as much like security cameras and stuff that was around. Like there should be more. Okay, I'm going to
Footage.
pause for just,
No, you keep going until I
I'm going
can
to
do
pause
it.
for just a moment and explain to the listeners what's about to attempt to be happening.
You gotta keep going. I gotta get this
and-
condensation off.
in a reference back to episode 10.
It wasn't episode 9. It was one
I
of
don't know,
those
either
two.
episode 9 or 10 of Sense and Buds. We're talking about how Vin, God, that's picking up on the mic too, just rubbing on the carpet. Vin was talking about how badass he feels when he can open up a can of beer with one hand.
Now
So
he's
like
trying to
we've
open a
upped the
bottle.
challenge to a bottle.
is it?
Oda was able to do it, but I think if he kind of
I
cheated.
can't do it.
He put it up against his belly to have something like as leverage.
Let
so
me try.
but see,
Technically, it's
that's
one hand.
exactly what Odell just did, but with his belly. Like he
Well, he's
stops
got
it
a
from
lot
moving
more
with his
belly than I do. God damn it!
But I'm saying like that doesn't count as
No,
as
it
a-
doesn't. I'm gonna set my mic down while you keep talking about whatever.
we were talking about
Tyler Davis.
yes, he was out drinking with his friend
And his
his wife, and like long story short, they went out, had some fun, and then went back to was it Hilton?
The Hilton in Easton.
Yeah, the Hilton in Easton. Apparently, like he fell asleep in the Uber on the way there. He's one of those people that when you wake him up, he's like real grouchy and like I don't know. There's like just a really small,
It's odd.
small sounding like argument they had, and he went to walk off to cool off, and essentially just disappeared. His friend was with him at first and was like, "Oh no, he'll be right back." It sounds very suspicious on their end,
Yeah.
and I feel like there has to be people up in Columbus
So-
from that area.
well,
that-
I mean, fucking human trafficking.
oh
Yeah.
is a
yeah,
big thing too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, especially on the dark web.
Yeah.
Dark web.
But
Yeah, to think about that
No,
one.
no. As soon as you said dark web, I was like, I don't know what I was thinking of was another line.
Stuart.
Do it.
So we're bad people, right? Because
God,
we
yeah.
went from talking about that to right into Letterkenny references, and I did it on purpose.
But I was trying to get to the gist of Robbie went into the whole story,
Yeah.
but I was just saying that happened in Columbus, and 2 normal people like Robbie and I were in our room.
Oh, what we were
in
doing
our
while we were
room.
listening.
I'm sorry, Brittany. The mic does pick up silences.
We were in our room, and I was just like, hey, this case, we listened to it, we wrote stuff down, and we were gonna retrace steps.
Yeah, well, because this interview is with the guy's wife, and she's giving like timestamps on everything they were doing. Like she was like, "Oh, we left at this time. We showed up to eat with his parents at this time. Went back to the hotel from this time to this time. Went to this store then. Like, so we're writing down the times and the places that we're going to like retrace their steps just to kind of like get the feel. Like we got really fucking into it.
We live so close.
Yeah,
I mean,
like it's just a few minutes.
12-minute drive.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where like even us, who's
We have day jobs. We have stuff.
We have a whole life, but at the same time, we're like, you know what, like we just hang out and watch movies every once in a while. Why don't we just go out and like maybe just try to see if we can figure anything out or get a different mindset, a different point of view on this that maybe somebody else may not have seen.
Like, let's look at it with a different set of eyes. Like bystanders, not detectives or cops that are actually like looking for something.
Well, and I can absolutely respect that. Because I respect you guys, but also because like I am a big proponent for real life superheroes. Have you guys ever seen these videos of these various like
Cat
especially
videos?
in large well those two
Lots of them.
but like there are actual, and I use superheroes loosely because that's what people put on them, but they're civil vigilantes. They're not vigilantes to the point where they're breaking any laws, but they do dress up in costumes and masks to protect their identities.
Oh yeah,
and
like
they go out.
like
They perform citizen arrests. They like inform the police when something's going down and shit. And yeah, they help out in a tangible, on the street manner without actually breaking any laws or having any superpowers.
It's like a guy, I can't remember what his name was or even what like city he was in, but there's a guy that dresses in like his own
He's
costume.
got like a full rubber suit and it's like a
rides
black
on
and gold
bike,
thing.
And he
Okay,
like,
no, that's
I'm gonna say he rides on a bicycle and will like pull up on you know, we have people like that are like that were just speeding and they stop at a red light or somebody like
there's
stop
all
sign.
kinds of them, man.
Even
all
little stuff
over.
like
real.
even little things like that. It's like the guy may have ran the stop sign because he just got a text and looked down and wasn't paying attention, and he's going to stop this guy and be like, "Hey, I don't know if you noticed it, but you know, you ran that stop sign back there." Oh yeah, like
a lot of them have shit names too, guys. If you're one of these superheroes, just like shoot me a message. I'll help you come up with a better name for real.
So
but
you're the real life Cisco, is what you're trying to say.
I want to be your Cisco without any of the scientific knowledge or superpowers
or really good hair,
or the thong song.
Far from really good hair. I don't know. I can cue up the thong song whenever I want. So there's that.
So I get what you're saying about like everyday hero.
Yeah. Mask or no mask.
Right.
You know, yeah.
So
but mask.
I like to play. I'm gonna say this the wrong way.
Hide the pole.
I like to play Captain Save-A-Ho.
Captain Save-A-Ho?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this a tail game? Or...
I see this becoming a long discussion.
No, it's
and we
quick.
are at almost half an hour. Like we're like 2 minutes off. So.
Hey, this is an hour and 45 minutes.
I make it quick.
That one needs to go up.
That one will go up whenever I'm like, God no, fuck that. When it comes to editing, because there's heavy editing.
Well, how about after the last episode?
Of SMP?
Of SMP.
Okay,
Since that's
that'll be
one
my
less
first
podcast.
That'll be my first project because I already have one new podcast project. I'm not willing to unveil right now.
Of course you do. I was actually thinking, like, you know what? It sucks that SMP is going to be gone because, like, it went through a lot of different stages.
Yeah.
But you know what? At least that's one less podcast Vin has to edit. No, it's not.
No. The new podcast is not going to require any editing, and that's the beauty of it.
Is it just animal noises?
And there's a video thing I'm going to be working on. Anyways, that's not what we were talking about. We're talking about Captain Save-A-Ho. All those really great reveals that you really all want to hear about right now. You're going to have to wait for him. So, Captain Save-A-Ho.
Okay, you said you like to play Captain Save-A-Ho. Is this
real
a
quick.
PlayStation game or?
So, I don't want to say ho because...
Yeah, but the
this is like a
the title of Captain Save-A-Ho
No,
is...
it's like sis, I see you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, there's been many a time that I've been at the club, or something.
Bottle full of Bobb.
I'm fucking done with you, man. Get out. Get out of your own house.
Get out of my house.
But if, when I go to the club, I try not to get, wasted. I don't go to the club that much anymore. At all, actually.
Yeah.
Right. Plus, the older you get, the less attractive that idea becomes.
Dive bars, bro.
But
dive bars and
when I'm like out or like regardless where I'm at, like I'm that girl. I'm like
that kind of watches.
Yeah, like
to see if like okay, this girl over here looks like
she's fucked up. She needs a cab, or like
she just left her drink.
Like here, sis, you want me to hold your drink? Like I've got you. You need someone to go to the bathroom with you. Where your friends, pull your shirt up, like. Do all the
pull
stuff.
Your shirt down. I think is what you mean.
or unless it's like a plunging, low cut shirt.
Yeah, like, I forget it goes both ways.
But I had the same thought. Like, wait, get the fucking shirt over, like off of her head. I mean, let me pull the shirt over your head.
Yeah, I mean.
Sounds
like
a little
your boobs are hanging out.
Okay.
Pull your cover your boobs.
There's always a balance.
But one time specifically, real quick, I was at the club and this girl, I'd seen her a couple times throughout the night, and I was only drinking water because I was like the designated friend. And she first lost her friends. They left her. And she was by herself, and I was like, hey, are you okay? Like, where are your friends? And she's like, I don't know, like, I'll find them. And I was like, I'm going to stand here with you until you find them. You just distracted
I'm
me.
sorry. I thought
it's okay.
I'll
edit that part
okay.
out. Just go ahead and pick up from where you left off and let him do his thing.
So she got drunker throughout the night, and it was about 1:30, and she was dancing, and this guy was like all over her, and like all over her, like his hand was like between her legs and like all kinds of nasty shit. So I like walked over to him and her, and I was like, I was like, excuse me, you. I was like, do you know him? She's like, no, we're just dancing. And I'm like, you're not dancing, you're barely standing up. I was like, here's what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna call you an Uber. You're gonna get in it. You're gonna go that fucking way, you fucking degen. And he's like, what the fuck? He's like, what the fuck, bitch? I was like, I've got your bitch. I was like, I will
see, and that'll separate the fucking douchebag, because like I already I had this idea in my head. I was like, well, sometimes these guys are drunk and they're like, yeah, they are taking advantage, but they're not doing it like so predatorily.
Fucking
but
skis.
like when they have that fucking reaction, yeah, that dude's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, he like put his arm out at me, and at the time I was dating someone else, and I was like, hold on a second.
Yeah. Because it's easy to jump to villainy, but like their reactions will reveal themselves real quick. Yeah. Okay, so was that the end of the story?
I got her a glass of water. I called her an Uber.
Tucked her into bed.
Did you tell her to take Tylenol? That's the biggest thing. Like,
I did.
If Brady knows you're drinking, she'll be like, drink water, take Tylenol. It's the best fucking advice ever for anybody drinking. Take Tylenol the night before. Drink some water the night before. You won't wake up with a headache, bro.
So, I can't think of better advice to take this one out on. Yeah. That's some good advice.
Hail hydrate.
Hail hydrate. We covered a lot of ground in this episode. A lot of different topics. I'm still going with murder is cool for the title.
I think you should, yes.
But in the meantime, you guys can check us out on the various social medias. They're all posted down below. Don't forget to like, comment. What's your favorite murder?
My favorite murder.
Let us know in the comments down below. Share this episode, that's how people know you begrudgingly listen to this piece of crap because someone you know was on it.
Follow me on Instagram.
Real quick.
What?
This Barroom Hero that I've been drinking?
Mm-hmm.
Dropkick Murphys.
Nice.
I just now caught that.
Now I can put them in the tags.
Yes, you can.
My name is Vincent Irvin.
I'm Bob Collins.
I'm Brittany.
We don't really do that on this, so right now as I'm talking, I'm going
Cue
to
that
fade
outro
into
plank.
outro music. It's not how it works.